What if the butter you've been buying for years isn't actually butter? Not in the way your body recognizes it. Not in the way nature intended it. Right now, sitting in millions of American refrigerators, there are sticks of butter hiding ingredients that have absolutely no business being there, and most people never even think to check. Real butter has existed for 4,000 years with exactly two possible ingredients: cream and salt. That's it. So why does your butter label list natural flavoring? Why does a product this simple need a flavor chemist? And why are you paying nearly $8 a pound for something your great-grandmother made in a wooden churn with nothing but fresh cream and elbow grease? Here's what nobody talks about. The average American household spends around $140 a year on butter. And a shocking portion of that money isn't buying you real butter. It's buying you marketing, shelf-stable fillers, and in some cases a lab-engineered imitation of what butter used to taste like before the food industry got involved. Today, we're exposing 5 brands that are quietly cutting corners and hoping you never flip the package over, and revealing 3 brands that are still making butter the right way. I spent 2 weeks auditing every brand on the shelf, and what I found genuinely surprised me. I'll also show you a simple 60-second trick called the melt test, something almost nobody knows, that instantly tells you whether your butter is the real thing or not. Stay with me until the end. You'll never look at your butter the same way again. Here is something the dairy industry would rather you never think about. To produce just 1 pound of real traditional butter, a farmer needs roughly 21 pounds of whole milk. That means real cows, real pasture, real feed, and real time. In traditional butter making, the cream is slowly cultured, carefully churned, and the flavor develops naturally over hours. No shortcuts, no additives, no chemistry degree required. Butter was always an agricultural product. Pure, simple, and honest. But somewhere along the way, the industry flipped the script. Modern industrial butter is a convenience product dressed up in agricultural clothing, and the disguise is almost perfect. The trick is hidden in 2 innocent-looking words on the label: natural flavoring. Under current FDA regulations, a manufacturer can legally call their product butter while adding lab-derived flavor compounds to mask the fact that the cream itself is bland and colorless, sourced from cows eating corn and soy in crowded feedlots instead of grazing on open pasture. Those natural flavors are typically fermented dairy compounds engineered in a laboratory to mimic the rich, grassy taste of real pastured butter, without any of the cost. Here is the math that exposes everything. Grass-fed cream costs producers roughly 40% more than conventional cream. Pasture land is expensive. Slow churning takes time. So the industry made a calculated choice: pay a flavor laboratory instead of paying for real ingredients. The result is a pale, waxy block of commodity cream with a chemical whisper of what butter used to taste like. And the most unsettling part? They can still legally print the word butter on the front of the box in bold letters. The truth is on the back, in fine print that almost nobody reads. Now, discover the 5 butter brands you should avoid. Number 5. Land O'Lakes Salted Butter. Let's start with the biggest name in the butter aisle, Land O'Lakes. This brand has been on American breakfast tables for nearly a century, and that familiarity is exactly what makes it so deceptive. Flip the package over and read carefully. You'll find cream, salt, and then those 2 telling words: natural flavoring. In a product that should have exactly 2 ingredients, that 3rd entry is a red flag you cannot ignore. Land O'Lakes has spent decades marketing itself as a wholesome farmer-owned cooperative. Pastoral imagery, rolling fields, a brand identity built entirely on trust. But the reality behind that packaging is very different. The cream comes from conventional feedlot cows eating corn and soy, not cows grazing on open pasture. The flavor that's missing because of that? A laboratory fills in the gap. Those natural flavors are engineered compounds designed to simulate the richness that real pastured butter delivers naturally, without paying for the real thing. You are spending around $6 a pound for a product that is technically butter by FDA standards. But what you're really buying is a highly polished imitation, a chemical echo of what butter tasted like before industrial agriculture decided that real flavor was too expensive to produce. Number 4. Challenge Butter. Challenge Butter has one of the boldest taglines in the dairy aisle: the butter without equal. It sounds impressive. It sounds confident. It sounds like exactly the kind of brand you'd want to trust. But before you accept that claim, do what most shoppers never do. Flip the package over and read the ingredient list. Right there, alongside cream and salt, you'll find it natural flavoring. Again, a brand that has been in business since 1911, over a century of butter making, and somewhere along the way they quietly decided that real cream simply wasn't flavorful enough on its own. No announcement, no explanation on the label. Just a discreet addition that most consumers walk right past without a second thought. The marketing tells one story: pristine mountain dairies, fresh cream, wholesome tradition. The ingredient list tells a completely different one. That gap between image and reality is where your money disappears. Because when a company relies on flavor compounds to compensate for bland, low-quality cream, they are not solving a production problem. They are hiding one. And they are charging you a premium price to do it. Challenge Butter is not the worst offender on this list. But for a brand that claims to be without equal, settling for artificial flavor fixes is a significant contradiction. Number 3. Great Value Salted Butter, Walmart. At roughly $3.50 a pound, Great Value Butter is the cheapest option on most shelves. And in this case, the price is telling you something important. When butter costs this little, something had to give. And what gave was quality. Great Value Butter is sourced from conventionally raised, grain-fed cows spread across hundreds of industrial dairies nationwide. There is no single source farm, no traceability, and absolutely no pretense of premium production. The cream is commoditized at the lowest possible cost, blended from countless anonymous suppliers and processed for maximum shelf stability rather than flavor or nutritional value. Here is where it gets revealing, and this connects directly to the melt test we'll cover later. Real butter melts into a rich golden foam with a distinct nutty aroma. Great Value Butter melts into a thin, pale, greasy puddle. No foam, no color, no smell worth mentioning. That visual difference is not cosmetic. It reflects the fat composition, the cream quality, and ultimately what your body is actually absorbing. People buy this butter thinking they are being smart with their grocery budget. But you are not buying a cheaper version of the same product. You are buying an entirely different product that happens to come in the same rectangular shape. That distinction matters more than the $2 you saved. Number 2. Crystal Farms Salted Butter. Crystal Farms might be the most masterful example of packaging doing all the heavy lifting on this list. The design is rustic and warm. The font is classic serif, the kind that whispers heritage and tradition. And the word farm is right there in the name, doing exactly what the marketing team intended, making you feel like this butter came from somewhere wholesome and small. It didn't. Crystal Farms is owned by a large corporate holding company, and their butter is pulled from the same industrial conventional dairy supply chain that produces most of the forgettable butter already on this list. No pasture-raised cows, no slow culturing process, no artisan churn. Just commodity cream processed at scale and packaged inside a label designed to make you think otherwise. What makes Crystal Farms particularly frustrating is the price point. You are paying a near-premium price, more than basic store brands, for a product that delivers commodity-level quality. Every dollar above the baseline is going toward graphic design and brand positioning, not better cream or better farming practices. The word farm on a label means absolutely nothing without transparency to back it up. Crystal Farms has the aesthetic of quality without any of the substance. You are paying for the font, not the farm. Number 1. Horizon Organic Salted Butter. This one is the most painful entry on the list, because Horizon Organic feels like the safe choice. The word organic on the label is supposed to be your guarantee, your protection, the signal that you finally chose correctly. And to be fair, Horizon does meet the federal organic certification standard. No synthetic pesticides, no artificial hormones. That part is real. But here is what organic does not mean. It does not mean pastured, it does not mean grass-fed, and it absolutely does not mean traditional butter making. Horizon is owned by a multinational food conglomerate, and their dairy supply includes sprawling industrial organic operations where cows spend the majority of their lives in confined settings, eating organic grain, not grazing freely on open pasture. The cream that comes from those cows is nutritionally and flavor-wise much closer to conventional commodity cream than it is to true grass-fed butter. At nearly $9 a pound, Horizon is the most expensive brand on the avoid list. And that price is built almost entirely on a single word that the food industry has spent decades quietly hollowing out. You are not paying for better butter. You are paying for a certification that legally means far less than most consumers assume. Organic is a starting point, not a finish line. Before we reveal the 3 brands that are actually worth your money, here is the simple test I promised you. And almost nobody knows about this. Take 1 tablespoon of your current butter and place it in a small pan over low heat. Just watch. Real traditional butter melts into a rich, deeply golden liquid. As it warms, the milk solids separate and turn amber, releasing a faintly nutty aroma. That golden color comes from beta-carotene, a pigment cows absorb naturally from eating grass. Grain-fed cows produce cream that is nearly white because they never see a pasture. If your butter melts into a pale, watery, almost colorless puddle with no aroma, you are cooking with industrial cream. Now flip the package and check the first 3 ingredients. If you see anything beyond cream and salt, especially natural flavoring, you are holding a product the industry had to rescue with chemistry because the cream itself wasn't good enough to stand alone. Now you know how to test any butter in 60 seconds. So let's talk about the 3 brands that pass. Number 3. Kerrygold. Let's start the good list with a brand that has quietly become one of the most trusted butters in America, and for very good reason. Kerrygold is made in Ireland from the milk of cows that graze on open pasture for up to 300 days a year. Not occasionally, not seasonally. Nearly year-round because Irish climate and landscape make that possible in a way that most American dairy farms simply cannot replicate. Now flip the package. The ingredient list reads, cream, salt. That is it. No natural flavoring, no lactic acid, no additives requiring a chemistry degree to pronounce. Just 2 ingredients, exactly the way butter has been made for 4,000 years. The color tells the whole story before you even taste it. Kerrygold is a deep, rich, golden yellow. Not because of any added dye, but because Irish pasture grass is genuinely that dense in carotenoids. That pigment transfers directly from the grass into the cow's cream. You can see the quality before the butter even touches the pan. Here is what makes this even more compelling. Kerrygold costs roughly the same price as Land O'Lakes. You are not paying a premium for real butter. You are simply choosing to spend the same money on something that is actually real. Number 2. Vital Farms. Pasture-raised butter. Vital Farms built its name on pasture-raised eggs, and if you've ever cracked one open and noticed that unnaturally vivid orange yolk, you already understand what genuine pasture nutrition looks like. Their butter operates on the exact same principle. And it is quietly one of the most honest products sitting in the American dairy aisle right now. The cream comes exclusively from small family farms where cows are actively rotated across open pasture throughout the season. And unlike most brands that hide behind vague marketing language, Vital Farms publishes specific farm conditions directly on their website. That level of transparency is almost unheard of in commercial dairy, and it matters. Flip the package. Ingredients: cream, sea salt. Nothing else. No natural flavoring, no additives, no compromises. The butter is also cultured slowly in the traditional European style, which develops a faint, pleasant tang and a layered flavor complexity that no industrial process can convincingly imitate. You taste the difference immediately. At around $7 a pound, Vital Farms costs less than Horizon Organic. A brand we already established delivers far less than it promises. Here, you are getting full traceability, genuine pasture sourcing, and traditional culturing for a price that is entirely justified. This is what accountability in the dairy industry actually looks like. Number 1. Organic Valley Pasture Butter. This is the gold standard, and it earns that title in every measurable way. Organic Valley is a farmer-owned cooperative, which means the people raising the cows are the same people responsible for what ends up in your kitchen. There is no multinational holding company making decisions at the top. No flavor chemist called in to fix a problem that better farming would have prevented. Their pasture butter is a seasonal product, crafted exclusively from May through September, the precise window when cows are actively grazing on lush, organic grass, and the cream reaches its peak. Natural richness in omega-3s, CLA, and beta-carotene. The ingredient list contains exactly 3 things: pasteurized organic sweet cream, salt, and microbial cultures for slow traditional culturing. Nothing more. The butter fat content sits at 84%, the European standard, which means it browns more beautifully in the pan, creates flakier pastry layers in baking, and delivers a depth of flavor that standard American butter simply cannot match. That deep golden color you see in every stick is not dye. It is beta-carotene absorbed directly from real summer grass. Organic Valley Pasture. Butter is what happens when a cooperative puts farmers first and lets the seasons do the work. Just cream, culture, and time. The butter aisle is not complicated. Butter never was. 2 ingredients, 4,000 years, 0 mystery. What got complicated is the industry built around it. One that learned to profit from your inattention. Fancy fonts, pastoral imagery, and the word organic stretched far beyond what it was ever meant to guarantee. But you now have everything you need. You know what to look for on the label. You know how to run the melt test in 60 seconds. And you know which brands are worth your money and which ones are counting on you never finding out. Flip the package. Read 3 ingredients. That is the whole game. If this video helped, like and subscribe. New deep dive every week.